Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. We're now just over 30 days until the 2024 election, and the Marxist Dems are scrambling for help. Swing state election officials are already saying they'll sue counties that won't certify the 2024 elections regardless of anything. Pennsylvania Secretary of State Al Schmidt telling USA Today, quote, "We would immediately take them to court to compel them to certify, and we're confident because of how clear the election law is in Pennsylvania that our courts would expeditiously require the counties to certify their election results." The election hasn't even happened yet, folks, and they're terrified of the thought that President Trump is going to be our next commander-in-chief. I think with all that's at stake this election, they're going to try and cheat, but I don't think this time it's going to be enough to get them over the finish line. Americans saw what happened in 2020, and I don't think they're going to let it happen again in this country. Over in the swing state of Arizona, Marxist Dem Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes has been blocked from using a new provision of the election procedure manual that would have let him certify election results in the state if counties refuse to sign off on their own results. U.S. District Judge Michael Liberty said that under this rule, all votes in a given county could be excluded if its officials fail to certify the election results. The provision, the judge said, would give Fontes, quote, nearly carte blanche authority to disenfranchise the ballots of potentially millions of Arizona voters, end quote. Two officials from a largely Republican county in Arizona delayed the certification of midterm election results in 2020, leading the Attorney General to bring felony charges against them. Then Democratic Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, now Arizona's governor, warned that she might have certified statewide election results without numbers from Cochise County if they weren't received in time, an outcome that would have tipped the balance of several closer races. Anyone who doesn't believe the Democrats do all they can to undermine democracy is living under a rock in this country. Our guest today does more to secure our elections than any government official, perhaps in this country. He's the great Mike Lindell, great American and founder of the all-American MyPillow. For all of you that don't know, MyPillow is a sponsor of this show. You can go to mypillow.com, use promo code John for the max savings and max discount on all MyPillow products. Like I said, American made. Mike, thanks so much for joining us today on the Great America Show. I want to start with the latest news about you being allowed to depose the co-founder of Dominion. It's taken now years. It's cost you millions and millions of dollars. It's cost you millions of dollars in time that you've had to spend and consume on this nonsense and BS from these sick people who are trying to ruin our country. Your thoughts as a judge is now allowing, I think This is probably the first time we're going to hear from these folks.
Yeah, it is. It's both good and bad. I mean, it's disturbing in the fact that it's only 3 hours. He's limiting it to 3 hours. I mean, I had to do 18 hours a day or 12 hours a day, like so many times now I can't even keep track. What makes these guys like immune to anything? It's just unbelievable. But it is a breakthrough. It is a breakthrough, and we'll take it. And baby steps, So we got through. We're going to be very careful, I guess is the word, or very concise, for our questioning of what we want to get through. There's so much of, in discovery with both Dominion, Smartmatic, and all these frivolous lawsuits. I've had millions of dollars I've spent on the lawyers spent on discovery. I go, they're not going to give us anything that means anything. You're talking about hundreds of millions of lines of data that don't mean anything. So, I mean, this guy's getting deposed. We better be very, very smart about those 3 hours, and we're going to be.
Yeah, and you said 3 hours. I sat for two depositions, one for Smartmatic and one for Dominion, where they harangued me, and they sat there and said, you were told to do this, and you were told to that. Right. And, Mike, I shut them down, and I watched your depositions, and for anyone who hasn't seen them, they're hysterical, because this is who Mike Lindell is. Mike's the character. And they sat me down for 8-9 hours at a time, and they sat there, and they constantly would put words in my mouth. And I sat there, and I hope these deposition transcripts come out one day, because they were hysterical. And I basically sat there and looked at the lawyer and said, you guys are total idiots. And, they constantly questioned me, and they'd say, well, this election was certified by CISA, and they came out and said it was the most secure election in history. And I looked at this lawyer, and I said to him, are you really that stupid? And this is all on the record. He said, are you really that stupid? I said, if someone comes out 2 days after an election where you've had millions and millions, hundreds of millions actually, of votes, and says it's the most secure election, I think that's even more of a reason for you to question it, because you can't even do a damn tax return in less than 2 months. But you can audit an election of 100, almost 200 million people in a day and say it's. I said that should be a red flag for every American. I said us as Americans are skeptical people. We have the right, and we question everything. And over the last 9 years, what they've done to President Trump, I think, Mike, we have a duty to even question even more. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've been living it. I was handed my evidence on January 9th of 2021, and ever since that time, I've spent tens of millions of dollars, upwards of $40 million, just investigating all the platforms and trying to get to secure our elections going forward. And it's they use lawfare. Remember, our country changed on February 4th, 2021. That was the day Smartmatic sued Fox News. That changed everything. Lawfare had not been used in our country since the late 1700s. When they did that, you silenced all the conservative media, your big three, Fox News, Newsmax, and Salem Media. They went silent. They became weather channels overnight that won't report hurricanes or tornadoes. That's a fact, everybody. It changed everything overnight. So then you're left with the media, the attack media, which everybody knows that's what I've had to use for 3.5 years, almost 4 years now, coming up on 4 years. So they're very, I guess they're planning. I mean, this was all very much planned, I believe. And it's not just the ones that are suing everybody. I've come to after finding all this. So, by the way, I want to go back to one thing you said about CISA. Chris Krebs said, he's the one that made the quote, the most secure election ever. Well, 3 months later, everybody, he was on Morning Joe with Adam Schiff, and both of them were questioned, said, what's the biggest threat to our country right now? Remember, this is 3 months after the 2020 election. Here's his quote. Bar none, an attack by China, a cyber attack right down to the local elections. What, it changed in 3 months? You just had the most secure, but now it's a threat? Give me a break, Chris Krebs. You were in on it as much as anybody. And you know how they defend that? Chris Krebs was appointed by Donald Trump. Right. What do people think, that there isn't something called a uniparty, a deep state, and globalists that are out there?
Or a mistake.
What we're up against.
I mean, we've seen over the course, and I love Donald Trump. I think more than you, and you love him more than perhaps. We'll say Lou probably loved him the most out of all of us.
Yeah, right.
And then me and you were a close second. But I think Trump has acknowledged that he made mistakes in people he appointed, and whether it be Reince Priebus or John Kelly. But he's owned it. He's owned that. So the whole notion that, Trump appointed him, we're humans, Mike. We make mistakes.
And people are there. The people that are out there, you don't know how deep it goes. I mean, this uniparty goes very deep. Yeah. You gotta in all these lawsuits that are out in Washington, D.C., that was also a Donald Trump appointed judge. That has nothing to do with anything, everybody. An Obama appointed judge has made a better ruling in Georgia when she said, hey, these cases need to move forward. There's a problem with the machines. And that was January 9th down in Georgia of this year, where they hacked into a machine with a ballpoint pen.
Mike, whatever happened with that lawsuit?
It's still going on, everybody. She's sitting on it. She's sitting on it. Now, if you were that judge, everybody, what would you do? You have a family. You have everything. No judge wants to be that first judge to make a ruling against the evil that's out there. If they do, now you have families, friends, neighbors. You have grandchildren. You're very concerned. I believe that this judge is going to wait till after the election, because she was trapped from the get-go. You were trapped. All of a sudden, this happened in front of you. What are you going to do? Say, hey, Georgia, melt down the machines and turn them into prison bars but she couldn't do that. I mean, she could have. It'd be very brave. Look what that one lady did in Florida when she said, this one judge said masks on airplanes are nonsensical, and it went away immediately in 2 days worldwide.
Right.
So it's only going to take one judge to be brave.
You know what it was, Mike? They attacked her. They attacked her. They went after her. And you know what? The Biden administration came out and said, well, we're going to challenge that in court. And then slowly, all of a sudden, it just went by the wayside. You'd mentioned Georgia. And Georgia is obviously one of the big key swing states. We'll call it a swing state because Joe Biden allegedly won it last election. They have two new election provisions that were passed this week by the Republican majority of the state election board. One of the rules provides a definition of certification that includes requiring county officials to conduct, Mike, a, quote, reasonable inquiry before certifying election results, but it doesn't specify what that means, of course, because you got to have some sort of challenge to it. The other includes language allowing county election officials to examine all election-related documentation created during the conduct of elections. So we're moving in the right steps. Brad Raffensperger and Brian Kemp, I still don't think you can trust them.
No, they're the worst in the country.
Right.
Add Chris Carr to that, too.
Right.
Add Chris Carr to that. The Attorney General, Chris Carr, Ratzenberger, the Secretary of State, and the Governor Kemp. They're all Republicans, everybody. They're not.
I call them Ratzenberger.
They have an R by their name, and that's it. The most they've caused more damage to this country, those three, than I believe all these other Republicans combined, because they've been blocking us for almost about 6 years down in Georgia.
Right. So,
disgusting.
but with these new two provisions, I think they're both good and bad, because if the elections are being stolen by means of hacking an election machine, whatever company it may be, this means absolutely nothing. If there's hundreds and thousands of mail-in ballots that are being fraudulently put in, it means absolutely nothing, right? Because you're only counting the same ballots over that went through the machines. Right. If they're mail-in ballots, they're fraudulent mail-in ballots, you're still going to count them because they're in. I want to take a quick break here, Mike. On the other side, I want to go deeper into this, some other states, what they're doing to try to stop the Republicans, I guess, from winning in 2020, and the price that we all pay for challenging or questioning it. Rudy Giuliani becoming one of the latest to feel the wrath from these Marxist Democrats who are ruining this country. We're talking about Mike Lindell. Coming right back. Stay with us. Folks, are you tired of supporting big box stores and multi-billion-dollar corporations that don't support us? Corporations that donate tens of millions of dollars a year to push woke Marxist Dem ideologies? Whether it be Amazon and Jeff Bezos, or Target with their transgender clothing for kids, or even Bud Light going totally woke, enough is enough. Why should we, as lovers of this country, continue to support these corporations? The answer is we shouldn't. I constantly get people who reach out to me and ask, John, what can we do to save this country? Where can we shop and support American-made brands and conservative ideologies? Well, we now have a solution to stop shopping at these woke companies and stop funding the deep state, and a solution to buy American. This is something we can all do right now to kick the deep state in the teeth and stop funding our enemies and vote with our dollars. We have a parallel economy for around 450 household products. Not only can you cancel woke brands like Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson, you can also cancel the stores that carry them. I need you all to head over to switchwithjohn.com, that's switchwithjohn.com, where you can read all about our movement. We have access to a conservative manufacturer that will replace these brands and the stores you buy them from. It isn't an additional budget item, because instead of turning right into Target or left into Walmart, you're going to shop directly online, directly with the manufacturer. Folks, this is a patriot movement that is happening right now before our eyes. Every 47 seconds, a shopper is switching to our online store, and we need you to partner with us, join us, and band together. I just canceled my Amazon Prime subscription because I've truly had enough. So what do you say? It's time to put your money where your heart is? Join us today and help save this nation. Go to switchwithjohn.com. That's switchwithjohn.com to learn how you can join thousands of other patriots and help take this nation back. switchwithjohn.com. We'll see you there. We're back. We're talking with Mike Lindell. Mike, Rudy Giuliani this week being officially disbarred from practicing law in Washington, D.C. after having his license suspended last year. This is the issue we have here in America. If you're skeptical, as we said last segment, you know, we as Americans have the right to be skeptical, and we are by nature. But when you have Rudy Giuliani being disbarred for questioning what we all believe was a rigged election, I think now more than ever, how do you get lawyers to come work for you? You know, I remember I was talking with one of your attorneys, Kurt Olson, and he said, you know, I'm doing this for the country. He said, at the end of the day, they're probably going to disbar me and they're probably going to ruin my life. Right. You don't have a million Kurt Olsons out there. You don't have a million Rudy Giulianis out there who are willing to put their ass on the line for this damn country. Right. How do we survive past this when you can't get a top law firm in this country to work on something that means so much for this country? Well,
you know, I've said this before, just like the judges out there, just like the you know, they have families, grandchildren, children, neighbors. And I really believe that the lawyers out there that went into fear, that went, you know, oh, I'm going to lose my life, I'm going to do this. They took a person, they took America's #1 mayor in history.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest patriots that ever walked this planet, and went after him and disbar him. Now, Kurt Olson, same thing, but the Kurt just won in Arizona, by the way. Kurt, we have a little victory down there, everybody. So there's a, you got companies like MyPillow being attacked more than any company in history. What's going to happen is people are not going to tolerate this. You get through this election here. It's just like I said, if we had China virus 2.0, no one's going to put up with that stuff again, like that we went through. We learned from it, just like we learned from the 2020 election and the 2022 election. We will not put up with this. People will reach out to these lawyers and say, hey, be the lawyers, be brave. You got to be brave. We only get one shot to save our country, everybody. This is it. So these attorneys, they're going to have to be brave, but it is, I think you went like this. It's more like you went way down. It was very hard to get anybody. I just had a thing with MyPillow that I went out to get with a banking thing. All of a sudden borrow some money, and all of a sudden my name was on. Their attorney wouldn't even have anything to do with it, even signing the papers, the closing papers. I mean, you can't imagine this stuff. So this is what goes on. But these people, there's been so many brave people like the mayor, Rudy Giuliani. He's come over to my platform, Frank Speech. He's come over there. He's got a great show, by the way, everybody, at frankspeech.com. And also today, I don't know if we launched Vocal, VOCL.com, the new social media platform. So Rudy, here's the example. What they're doing, John, is to destroy our voice. That's what it's been all about. That's what Lou is so excited that our voice was going to expand over at Frank Speech and get the word out on everything. And that's why they're attacking. You think they're disbarring people and going after companies and stuff. They want us to stop talking about securing our election platforms. It all comes from our elections, everybody. We need elections rather than selections. And it comes down to the best elections ever, which is paper ballot, hand counted. John, 132 countries have banned electronic voting machines from their election. Over 100 countries have banned early voting and mail-in voting. We have the worst election platforms in the world right now, and we have to go from the worst to the best, and we've got to do it this year, going into next year. And we have to be everything that's happened over the past, call it decade, call it back when Lou, back in 2005 and 6, when Lou first was fighting these computers, you go back that far. This is what has to happen, because everything comes from our elections. And
hold on. You bring up a good point. I don't want to forget this and let it slip my mind. You mentioned 2005, 2006. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Lou was on CNN. I mean, as firebrand as he can possibly be, warning us about election companies and what they can do to our elections, right?
Yep.
And then shortly after that, there was a movie called Kill Chain put out, right? Mm-hmm. Lou wasn't sued back then. Kill Chain, the producers and the Democrats who were in that damn film were not sued back then. So what changed? And you brought it up to a good point. It's anyone who doesn't want to secure our elections or is a threat to the uniparty. I want to bring up something I saw on Twitter over the weekend. And Mark Cuban in 2015, he had said President Trump joining the race was like a breath of fresh air. It was excellent. Now Mark Cuban has gone full on Marxist, radical Dem leftist, endorsing Kamala Harris, her economic policies. And Mark is not a dumb guy, right? Mark made a fortune off of being a smart guy. So I couldn't seem to figure out how or what happened to Mark Cuban. And then I saw this tweet over the weekend from an account on a letter that President Trump sent to Mark Cuban on October 18th of 2024. Dear Mark, I am truly sorry to hear that your show has been canceled for lack of ratings. When I initially called you to congratulate you on the benefactor, little did you or I realize how disastrous and embarrassing it would turn out to be for you. If you ever decide to do another show, please call me and I will be happy to lend you a helping hand. With best wishes, Donald, right? Donald, anyone who knows Donald Trump knows that's his humor.
Yeah.
Then I went further on and I saw Elon Musk, and Mark Cuban had sent this tweet to Elon Musk. Elon Musk had put out a tweet and said, very few Americans realize that if Trump is not elected, this will be the last election. Far from being a threat to democracy, he's the only way to save it. Mark Cuban then replied, and this is where I figured out where something went wrong with Mark Cuban, and the light flipped in his head. Elon, there will come a time you will need something from Donald Trump. You will think you have earned the right to ask and receive. You have been a loyal, faithful soldier for him. You have always supported him politically with tens of millions of dollars. Then at the point you need him the most, you will find out what so many of you before have learned. His loyalty is only to himself. So now it turns out that Mark Cuban was looking for a quid pro quo from Donald Trump. Right. He's a useful idiot and was unable to get it. And then the tweets later go on, and Elon Musk says, I want nothing from Donald Trump. And you hear Trump talking about Elon Musk all the time. Trump doesn't support electric vehicles, and Elon is not there. Anyway, they put out this other tweet, and it said, no Fortune 100 CEO support Donald Trump. To which Elon Musk says, well, I talk to them every day, and I am one of them. I support Donald Trump. So that in itself is false. But I talk to them daily, and they do support Donald Trump behind the scenes. But they can't come out and do it because you people are so damn sick in the head that you will try to ruin them. I mean, that's what it's come to, Mike.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think that exchange between Mark Cuban and Elon Musk hits the nail on the head. But it's not just Mark Cuban. It's through so many. Everyone's got their damn hands in Donald Trump's pocket. And it's the same thing with you, lawyers and everybody. They smell a little bit of money and they come for it and they come for it. They smell the power and they come for it. These are sick people, Mike, and they're destroying our damn country.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mark Cuban, that's just disturbing that he, like you say, he's a smart guy. Well, he just went from, a smart guy to being one of the dumbest people in history. Totally one of the dumbest people in history. You assume, if you're watching the brainwashing, like we say, of what been going on with the media for a long time now, that, like they're trying to do right now with Kamala Harris, and people see right in front of their eyes. Here's what manifested from Donald Trump being in there. Here's what manifested from Biden and Kamala Harris. Here's what manifested in Minnesota from Tim Walz, or the horrible things
such a
we had to
weirdo.
go through. People can see it with their own eyes now, but how does Mark Cuban? So he's taking a personal. He has a personal agenda.
Yep.
It's not what would be better for the country.
Yep.
He has made it personal, and that's sick. Mark Cuban has a big, big problem. He's not seeing the big picture, or he doesn't care about the big picture.
Yeah.
He only cares about Mark Cuban. And that's sad. That's really sad.
Mike, there's so many of them like that. You're a very rare commodity in this world. You had so much and had this great life. And one of the saddest moments, Mike, I had ever seen from you. You went on one of the late night talk show hosts, one of those low life pieces of garbage. I can't even believe you went on. And they said, Mike, you've got hundreds of millions of dollars. You're rich. And you looked at him and you said, I donate it all. And it literally brought a tear to my eyes, because that's the kind of person. I've known you now for some years, man. And anytime I call you, anytime I text you, and I don't ask you for anything, we'll just be clear about that. But you're right there. You call me right back. You answer right away. And I'm nobody to you. I'm just another fly on the wall. And people don't realize that, what this has done to your life to turn it upside down. You had everything. You had a great life. You had the houses. You had the cars. This. And you gave it all up because you cared so much about this damn country. And it's truly a shame that these people are doing this to you.
John, what really bothers me right now is that Keith Ellison in Minnesota, the Attorney General, went after my Lindell Recovery Network. I was an ex-crack cocaine addict. He's went after that in full force. These are C3s, my foundation, my outreach, and my Lindell Recovery Network, and just attacking them. And it's like, where does it end? And, I came out with the special with My Pillow. Here's an employee-owned company. This is what bothers me. And people go, are you willing to destroy your company and whatever? And when are you going to quit? I said, I'm never going to quit, because we won't have a country if we don't secure our elections. That's it. Well, what did they do a week and a half ago? They go after a price point of 88 or 1488. It was the number one story in the world, all the way to the Daily Mail in the UK. Trending. Mike Lindell is Hail Hitler. The 8 is the 8th letter in the alphabet, and it says 88. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Walmart, Costco, Amazon, you can go anywhere. They use it. And you know what? I'm going, I'm not going to go. This was right before we were doing a commercial with 1988, 1888, and 1488. I said, and people are coming, are you going to apologize? And media is coming, are you going to apologize and change your ads? I'm going, absolutely not. This doesn't mean that just because someone means it. I'm not into numbers, stuff like that. I don't care. This was a an ad that was put out that many other companies put out. You know, you're going to look at each thing. What does 97 mean? What does 33 mean? What is that? It's disgusting.
Mike, for the people who don't know you, I don't think you have a bad bone in your damn body. And it's probably to your own demise because you're too good of a damn person.
They don't have advantage of that. But.
Absolutely. You don't have a mean bone in your body, man. I used to joke a little. I'd never heard Mike say a curse word before. That I listen to your definitions that I call Lou and I go,
that was the only guy.
Mike Lindell is a human being.
But I called that guy an a-hole. And then I got flack for that. What kind of a Christian says that? Right. This guy came after me, and we all have our breaking point, whatever. Yeah. But this guy was that, and now because of that, that went viral across the world too, or across the country, and
Mike, I want to go back to that sale, that 1488, because for anyone who doesn't know, Mike is a sponsor of this program. What's the promo going on right now, Mike? You get the classic. Here's how that came about. A box store return. We finally got a box store back, everybody. We got a box store back, and can you tell us what the box store it was, Mike? What's that? I can't say which one it was. I'm not going to do that. They'll just make it about that. But the day we were shipping them out, they canceled their PO. And I go, you know what? So here they were all made. We put what money we had left into these My Pillows. All my employees, we have worked hard to make these, get them all ready. Well, then. So I said, you know what? We're going to put a sale to the public at basically wholesale pricing. That's where the 1488 came from. And then so now we did this big commercial that you're going to see everywhere. We have the body pillow for $29.88, the king size My Pillow for $19.88, queen size $18.88. The 1488 is the standard, and then $9.88 for the smaller multi-use My Pillow. And promo code John, right? You got a new promo code. For everyone who sees Mike across every single TV platform across America, whether it be Fox or Newsmax, wherever. I mean, you could be watching the damn Super Bowl and you're probably going to see Mike Lindell somewhere selling something. I tell everybody, for everyone who doesn't know, Mike Lindell is the new Billy Mays. For anyone who didn't know Billy Mays, he was the greatest salesman of all time who sold OxyClean, who tragically died. For everyone, who doesn't own a My Pillow product, when you take Mike on as a sponsor, Mike says to you, order whatever you want. I want you to try the product. I want you to believe in the product, and I want you to own the product. I don't want you just coming on here and selling it. And I have everything from Mike's slippers to his beds to my dog has 3 or 4 dog beds that he goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And his products are excellent. MyPillow.com/John, promo code John will get you max savings on all Mike stuff. We're going to take one more quick break here. When we come back, I want to talk about some election officials going rogue, threatening to sue if we don't certify this election. The election didn't even happen yet, Mike, and they're already threatening to sue. What are they so worried about? We're coming right back with Mike Lindell. Stay with us.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra My Pillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic My Pillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size My Pillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use My Pillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size My Pillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
We're back. We're talking with Mike Lindell. Mike, swing state election officials say they'll sue counties that won't certify the 2024 election. Now, we're 30-something days away from the election. Officials from Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin made the comments in an interview USA Today at a public event at the University of Michigan. Quote, "We would immediately take them to court to compel them to certify, and we're confident because of how clear the election law in Pennsylvania is that courts would expeditiously require counties certify their election results," said Pennsylvania Secretary of State Al Schmidt. Mike, we haven't even had the election yet, and they're already nervous at the prospect of a challenge to the 2024
Right.
election. What are they so nervous about? Kamala is such a great candidate. She's doing such a great job.
Right.
What are they so worried about, Mike?
I'll tell you, they're worried about that it's going to expose the machines to the frauds they are, and that we would end up getting rid of them forever. That's their biggest fear, believe it or not. If the Uniparty's biggest fear is that. They want to be able to control our country forever, just like they have started with Venezuela way back 20-some years ago, and all the other countries that have been taken over by electronic voting machines. And I'll tell you, they can sit there and threaten that all they want, but do you think the public? Now, here's the best one: Pennsylvania, who for 3 elections in a row now have had more votes than voters. Everybody. More votes than voters. Now, let's say, can you imagine we do a vote here? There's 10 of us vote. We come back here and let's count them up, and it's 10-5. And they certified everybody.
I would like that, Mike, if I was on the receiving end of that.
They certified. You can't make this up. And that's why they want to keep our word down. They want to keep us silent. They want to scare us and keep us silent and all this stuff. When you go down to Arizona, many of the counties down there that were not going to certify the 2020 election and 2022, I had them on the phone with me with our lawyer, the great Kurt Olson. They said, well, they're threatening me that I would go to jail just for doing their job. And he goes, well, you haven't done nothing wrong. And I said, but Kurt, you can't guarantee him that. In the world we're in right now, they'll just do it. And he goes, no, I can't. And I said, but what I can do there is I'll be there at that jail door for you and help you get out, and we will fight this to the end. A lot of them, like I say, they were threatened, not just threatened with jail, but they were physically threatened. And this is scary stuff, but this is the world we're in right now. But the public, like I say, this is different this time, everybody. We're not going to, they will not tolerate it. They can sit there and tell you, oh, well, we're going to make you certify. You know what? No, if there's deviations, which there would have to be, in order for Kamala to win, everybody, they have to steal 10 million more votes. And they say, well, why is that? If they don't do it that way, then you're going to see these deviations pop up. Imagine a county in, let's say, Wisconsin, that one county that's usually 75% red, all of a sudden is 75% blue. You don't think people are going to go, this time you're going to open up those machines, which brings about the great plan we have, John, the plan that we came up with a year ago, why they keep attacking me. We have a plan. Everybody, secure your mail-in ballot, everybody. Get your mail-in ballot and don't open it. Right now in Minnesota, we're going full force on this. You get your mail-in ballot. It pulls it off the dirty voter rolls, so now you got it. You don't open it. When you go in to vote, day of, or even if you vote early, you do it in person. When you go to vote and they say you've already voted, you say, no, I have not. Now it becomes identity theft. It's a whole new ballgame, everybody. And we have so many examples right now. We want to get examples in all 50 states and every county in the country. Just met with Hawaii 2 weeks ago, John. In Hawaii, they go, what's the sense? We're always blue. Now they feel like they're part of a team. Right. Everybody's getting out to vote because we're going to catch these guys. We're going to catch the Uniparty. We're going to catch them. And so I'm pretty excited. That's at LindellPlan.com, everybody. Or you can go and get involved by the new platform, Vocal.com, VOCL.com. Brand new. It's our election platform site. Check it out. Check out your own county and stay informed. I'm excited.
You know how you're doing the right thing, Mike, is anytime you come out with something, the Democrats will do anything they can to counter it. I remember last summer, you had my boss, Lou Dobbs, at your election summit, and you had unveiled a device that you could bring into election centers and detect what's on the internet. Now, as soon as you came out with that, I think it was Kentucky, that was the first one, red state, came out and said, these devices are banned from anywhere near our election center. Well,
Mike Lindell, Mike Lindell is banned. If he comes in here, that's illegal.
I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, what the hell's the big deal? It's just a device that says if something's online. And if you have nothing to hide, what are you so worried about? But Mike, these people are so damn corrupt. You mentioned Arizona, Wisconsin. Arizona a few weeks ago had 98,000 voters accidentally registered. You had Wisconsin, a similar issue, 20, 30,000. And people may look and say, oh, 2,000 in this county and 1,000 in this county. It doesn't, it's numbers through mass, right? So if you do 1,000 here, 1,000 there, use Philadelphia and you add 5, 10,000, nobody realizes it because there's such mass and mass and mass. And you look at some of these states, Donald Trump losing, I think Wisconsin with 10,000 votes. Well, if you put 1,000 here and 1,000 there and you do 1,000 there, people don't realize it, but it's massive. So in Arizona, like I said, over the last few weeks, there was 98,000 voters who read in a registration glitch. But the officials in Arizona are very, very nervous. I want to cover this from the Washington Post. A newly leaked phone call between Arizona's Democratic statewide office holders reveal how they scrambled to find a narrative before announcing a statewide voter error that validated the citizenship of nearly 100,000 voters. Quote, "It's going to validate all their theories about illegal voting in our elections," said Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs on a call obtained by the Washington Post. Quote, "They're going to be calling for a new 2020 election and a 2022 election as well," says Hobbs. Democrat Attorney General Chris Mays admitted that, quote, "all of these elections are challengeable as a result of the state not verifying voter citizenship." So behind the scenes, I think they know. At first, I thought they were just stupid or ignorant to it, but it seems now behind the scenes, they know the malicious acts they're doing, and they know that their elections were stolen. There's no way Kari Lake lost that election by that many votes. There's no way Abe Hamadeh lost by like 600 votes. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But now, Mike, they're nervous. They're nervous about the 2024 election because people are going to question it. I want to cover this. Adrian Fontes, the Secretary of State, who's a Democrat, who also won in that blue wave across Arizona, is now blocked from using a new rule to certify election results when counties refuse to. This is from a judge this week. The judge, so basically what the rule says is that counties in Arizona who think the elections were maybe rigged or there's abnormalities and they want to challenge it, Fontes can't go ahead and certify the election. This is from the judge who ruled on that. He said, quote, it gives nearly carte blanche authority to disenfranchise the ballots of potentially millions of Arizona voters. Mike, we'd said before, all it takes is one judge. I think maybe we're starting to see a turn. Arizona is ripe for crime. I mean, you have illegals pouring through that damn border every day. Ripe for crime and ripe for fraud. But when you have something like that happen, when you have a voter, when you have a judge say to Attorney General, a Secretary of State rather, you can't certify this election if people, if these counties don't turn it.
Huge victory. That's a huge victory, everybody. These are the positive things that are happening all across our country. And you're not going to see that on Fox News and Newsmax. They're never going to report to you any of these, any of the hope. They're just like you might see it where Newsmax just sold another machine. I believe it was Smartmatic this time. They sell it, but nobody knows what it's a closed case. No money exchange hands.
Well, Mike, we knew about Fox when what was it, $787 million. We knew before the lawyers even got out of the courtroom and made it to the damn podium. We knew it was $787 million because Fox could afford to pay that. The rumor on the street was that Newsmax couldn't afford to pay $1 because they're running a low budget.
Yeah, but I believe here was the big thing with the machine company. It's not about the money to them, everybody. What it is, I guarantee you they made a deal with Ruddy and Newsmax that you cannot say anything about the 2024 election. If there's anomalies, you got to keep your mouth shut there too. Jesus. I guarantee this is look at the timing of this, everybody. 30-some days before the election, and all of a sudden there's a settlement. Now, Ruddy will say, well, I owe it to my stockholders. I'm going to be doing this thing, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you lose your country,
there's no
your little
IPOs,
and, once again, that's self-serving. But there are victories out there, everybody. And that's why, I just encourage everybody, to be watching like your podcast, Sean, be watching Frank's speech. I know one of the things what the great Lou and I talked about all the time was expanding our voice and how we were going to go out there and expand it so people could hear the hope of our country. And those victory, if you hear that, that's a huge victory down there. Then you hear they will report nonsensical things like everyone heard about Virginia going, we have paper ballots hand counted. Well, good for you. I'm sorry. They said we have paper ballots. They didn't say hand count. Right. I'm going, good for you, Special K. They're counted by electronic tabulators that are on the internet. They're on the internet. You don't have the safe elections, Virginia. They're disgusting. Every single one. When we did those devices, John, in 2023, all of their machines were on the internet.
Are you going to be bringing those devices back for 2024, Mike?
Yeah, we're bringing them out. We're not saying where, and we're going to be monitoring. Absolutely, we'll be monitoring places. But this, we learned what we've learned is not to put it out there now. Of all the hope of a lot of these counties. I was just in Texas. You talk about hope. Gillespie County, they don't use any machines there. It's all paper ballots, hand counted with one of our systems. That was the best hand counting system I think I've ever seen. It rivals the other one, Linda Rath, that works for me out of Missouri, but they can't use hers in Texas. And I was down there, talked to them all, and I did it. I was part of it. It is amazing. 100% accuracy, everybody. This is what we've got to get to. And they're going to do it. And they were attacked. And get it, John, do you think they were attacked by Democrats or Republicans?
You know what? It was probably Republicans.
Republicans. It was Republicans, everybody. And so it goes both ways. Yes, this is an election going, if the Democrats win in that. But remember, the big fight is these computerized machines. If Donald Trump, if this had with 2016 and 2020 and all this, they have a big fear of him. Absolutely, But if I was been their marketing thing, I would have said, "Hey, let Donald Trump win. Let's just not interfere. We'll put up with him for 4 more years. We still have the electronic voting machine, and then we crush the United States and take the world." That's what they should have done, but they didn't do that. So now everything's been exposed more and more every day. It's laying out just the way God intended. And we're going to get to a beautiful place where we're going to get to with paper ballots hand counted in a beautiful place in our country. And we're going to look back and say everything had to happen just the way it did.
It's truly remarkable, but it's almost like, and it's sad for me to say this, that it's come to this point, but it's almost like the Democrats want to see a civil war in this country between Republicans and Democrats because of everything they're doing to stoke this fire. To me, there's not much consensus these days on Republicans and Democrats, whether it be if the sky is blue or the sky is gray that day. But one thing that everyone should want is free and fair elections. And the only people who would not want that are people who are at fear of losing their damn power. And that's what America's come to. Mike, thanks for everything you're doing. How much are those pillows again that people can get at mypillow.com with promo code John?
$14.88, everybody. Doesn't come with the box, though. $14.88, promo code John.
There we go.
$14.88, original MyPillow, wholesale prices. And we've sold over 83 million MyPillows now.
Beautiful.
And you know why? Because it works. It helps you get the best sleep ever. I forget to tell people, you can wash and dry them. They last 10 years, a 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee.
You're the only person I know, by the way, who offers a 10-year warranty.
Yeah, and 100% made in the USA.
What more can you ask for? Yeah. Mike, you're a great American. Thanks for everything you're doing for this great country. Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Please be sure to join us right back here tomorrow for the Great America Show as our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. Please be sure to follow me on Twitter at John Fawcett NY. That's John Fawcett NY. And on Truth Social at John Fawcett. Shoot me a tweet. Let me know what you want to hear more of on this show. You could also email us at info@loudobbs.com. See you back here tomorrow. May God bless you. God bless America. And may God bless the great Lou Dobbs.